Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to read the next chapter of Attack of the Tiger. Chapter 11, Mistaken Identity. A giant purple dumb baby was sprayed on the back wall of the library, but it didn't just say, duh, in the talkie bubble. It said, I'm Shredderman, duh. Kids were swarming all around, talking 100 miles an hour. The lady with the Channel 12 microphone was spinning in circles trying to get interviews with third graders. What do you think of all this? She asked a blond boy with bowl-cut hair. The boy pulled a dumb baby face right at the camera and said, duh. The Channel 12 lady rolled her eyes, then waved her cameraman over to another little kid and tried again. So, what do you think of this, Shredderman? She asked her. Shredderman? Girl asked back. Oh, Shredderman's cool. Yeah, totally cool, another girl said. The Channel 12 lady shook her head and sighed, then stuck her microphone in someone else's face. I wanted to run up to the Channel 12 lady and say, wait, Shredderman didn't do the graffiti, the tagger did. But I couldn't. I couldn't say anything that would give me away. The teachers were having some sort of powwow off to the side, and Dr. Voss was talking to a policeman, to Sergeant Clubb. I moved closer. I tried to act invisible. Actually, I'm good at being invisible. At least that's what it feels like a lot. Like when we're picking teams, or when people are talking about sleepovers, meeting at the park, or going to the movies. People don't seem to notice that I'm standing right there. So I got real close to Dr. Boston Sarge, and I was listening away when a hand clamped down on my shoulder. Nolan! I jumped like a kangaroo, and when I landed, there was my dad smiling down at me. I'm sorry, Nolan. Didn't mean to startle you. My heart was pounding at least 165 beats a minute. My eyelids were cranked back probably 190 degrees. My whole body went from 98.6 Fahrenheit to sub-zero Celsius like that. Dad leaned down and whispered, take a deep breath, son. Take a deep breath. I tried, but it's hard when your heart's racing and the rest of you is petrified. He laughed. You must have been concentrating on something pretty hard. Honestly, I wasn't trying to startle you. Finally, I blinked and said, I, I, hi, Dad. Surprised to see me at school? Uh-huh. Well, I got a call about the graffiti. He put his arm around my shoulders and moved us towards Sarge and Dr. Voss, looking at the graffiti the whole time. Shredderman, huh? He took a small spiral notebook from his coat pocket. And all this time we've been calling him the Tagger. But he's not, I cried. I mean, he wasn't listening to me anyway. He was shaking hands with Sergeant Clubb, saying, Hey, Billy, long time no see. Sergeant Clubb snorted. This punk's keeping busy, huh? Dr. Voss looked mad. She had her arms crossed, and her lips were pulled tight. And I suppose now you're going to accuse my son of doing this? Look, Dr. Voss, Sarge said. Dr. Voss to you, Sergeant. Sarge took a deep breath. Ma'am, we never accused your son or the other boys who questioned of anything. We were simply looking for information. But the implication was clear. Sarge turned to my dad. Tell her, Stephen. Tell her about the tip. Dad nodded and tried not to look at me. It's true, Dr. Voss. An anonymous tip was left on my machine at the Gazette. She huffed and said, It was probably left by this Shredder man. He seems to think he can do whatever he wants, just like all delinquents. Shredderman? A delinquent? How could they even think that? Shredderman fought for truth and justice. Shredderman was a good guy. Anyone who'd been to the site knew that. Things had gone from bad to worse at light speed. And before I could figure out how to stop something going 186,282 miles per second, Mrs. Bernhardt, Miss Sims, and a bunch of other teachers started shooing kids off to class. Didn't you hear the bell? Go, go, go! You'll all be tardy. My dad ruffled my hair and said, Have a good day, Nolan. See you tonight. Mr. Green caught up to me before I got in line outside room 22. Nolan? He whispered. What were you thinking? I didn't spray that, I whispered back. I mean about the site. I got your email this morning. I shrugged. I was trying to make him mad. He laughed, but it wasn't a funny laugh. Well, you did a good job, and he sure turned the tables around on you. I know, but how can people think that Shredderman did that? People jump to conclusions, Nolan. Well, tell them he didn't do it. Me? He pointed to himself. I can't tell them. I'm the bouncer, remember? But, and the truth is, I'm feeling pretty uptight about all this. I'm not exactly Dr. Voss's favorite teacher to begin with, you know. I didn't know. But now that he said it, it did make sense. She was never very friendly to him, that's for sure. And she'd been pretty mean to him about his van. Kids in line were starting to look around for him, so he said, Don't worry, okay? I'll fix everything, I promise. He looked at me like my mom does when I tell her that I know how to make my own lunch, then hurried to unlock the door.